Hari Om. Today we are on the mantra number 6 of section 1 of chapter 3 of Mundaga. The mantra reads Satyameva Jayate Namrudam Satyena Pantha Vitato Devayanaha Yena Kramanti Rishayo Aptakama Yatra Tat Satyasya Paramam Nidhanam. Satyasya Paramam Nidhanam. This is the mantra. Now the meaning is truth alone wins, not falsehood. The path of Devas, Devayana, is laid by truth, along which the seers who are not affected by the desires travel and reach the highest goal, the truth. Let's examine the meaning in a bit detail. Now, the very first phrase of this mantra is now our national vision, exhibited widely in almost all government departments governed by secularism. Satyameva Jayate. Everywhere you will find, even in the Supreme Court shop you will find Satyameva Jayate. In fact, we should feel proud of our heritage to have extolled this nation the virtue of truthfulness. At least, we are continuously showcasing the truth, ever expressing our desire to reach that coveted goal. We would not have reached, but that is the goal we have set. So the mantra begins to assert that Satyameva Jayate, truth alone shall win. Satyam Eva Jayate, alone will win. Nothing else will win. Na Anirudam. It's a double negative use. Rudam means Satyam. Na Rudam. Na Rudam means falsehood. Na Anurudam means truth. Rudam means truth. Na Nirudam means falsehood. Na Anurudam means not falsehood. Therefore, truth alone wins, my boy, never the falsehood. The Shruti further says that the path of divine, the Devayana, is laid with truth. Bricks of truth, slabs of truth, meaning even the way is made up of truth. And where does this path laid with the truth lead to? It is Devayana as opposed to Pitriyana. We have earlier seen that when the gross body detaches itself from the subtle body, carefully, when the gross body gets itself detached from the subtle body, the subtle body seeks its appropriate path for its future journey. Because the subtle body has vasanas. It has to exhaust those vasanas, good, bad or indifferent. In order to exhaust those vasanas, it has to find an appropriate body, an appropriate apparatus. Therefore, they search the appropriate path. Those who are laden and loaded with egocentric desires in their subtle body go through the path of the moon called Dakshinayana and reach the Pitraloka en route heaven. They would have done some yagas and yajnas with a desire to go to heaven and enjoy the heavenly club. So they go through the path of moon, the Dakshinayana path, because that is the route to heaven, known as the Pitrayana. So they go by that route. But the others, other subtle bodies, who are seekers of the Supreme Reality, no doubt, but had to abandon their gross body in mid-course for some reason. But they are prompted by the desire to merge with the Lord. They have divinely vasanas in them. They go through the route of the sun, the Uttarayana, for their onward journey to immortality. This was a time for which the Pitamaha Bhishma was waiting for on his arrow bed. This route is called the Devayana. Therefore, the Rishi says the path of Devayana is paved with the slabs of truth. Not only the goal is the truth, but also the path is also laid out with the truth. So it is truth and nothing but the truth. Yena kramanti, through that path, the seeker is with aptakama, the state of desirelessness, egocentric desirelessness, that's important. Yatra tat satyasya paramam nidhanam. They reach the supreme abode of the truth from where no traveler returns. Once you reach there, there is no return. This mantra, therefore, contains one particular phrase which has become so universal. Satyameva Jayate. That we have seen in the beginning. Now, it also contains another word of great significance. One single word of great significance for a spiritual seeker, which is aptakama. Yena kramandi rishayo aptakama. The face-to-face meaning of this word is, direct meaning of this word is, those who have fulfilled all their desires is aptakama. But that is just the word meaning. Those who have fulfilled all their egocentric desires is the word meaning of that. Its deeper import must be understood and appreciated carefully. We have to examine that. Then only the content of the mantra reaches its finality. Desire can rise only when there is an imperfection in us, isn't it? Only when there is an imperfection in us, the desire rises to become perfect. Think, please. Immediately after a full course dinner, at least for some time, we have no desire to eat. No desire to eat. There may be other desires, but certainly no desire to eat. Because as of now, underline, as of now, there is no lack of food within me. As far as Annamaya Kosha is concerned, it is perfectly full. Acknowledgement has also come from inside the Annamaya Kosha by burping to say that I am full or houseful. When you eat full and plenty up to the brim of your stomach, you get a burping sound, you see. That has also come. There is an acknowledgement to declare that houseful, please, for some time, don't trouble me. After a couple of hours, what is the condition? We may desire for a light tiffin. One vada sambar will be all right. Or one plain roast will be all right. Not when immediately after the food. After a couple of hours, 2-3 hours. When I thus start feeling a sense of incompleteness, some of the food that I have taken has already been digested, whether or not flushed out or not, that's a different matter. It is digested from the Annamaya Kosha. We may desire for a light food later, at that point in time. So when I thus start feeling a sense of incompleteness, desire arises. Desire to have a small bite round the corner. Now, but for a sadhak who has already been well grounded in spirituality and having acquired the requisite knowledge about the reality, in other words, having passed the written test, is now going for Viva, isn't it? Would have gathered to himself the necessary self-restraint to contain the desires and other fleeting joys of the world. They become irrelevant to him. No objects, emotions or thoughts will ever disturb his inner peace. Such a near perfect man, he is not yet perfect because he is on the path to perfection. He has not reached there. Now our housewife, we say, what are you doing? I am making tea. Right? Making tea means what? Tea is not made. You are in the process of making tea. So therefore, such a near perfect man, not a full perfect man, near perfect man, who has ended all his misunderstandings about himself and have firmly come to the knowledge that he is indeed the Supreme Self, shall desire no more. There is nothing for him to desire. He will not desire for anything. Why? Because he is complete within himself. Atmanye Atmana Tushta. He is satisfied in himself. That state of perfection will be achieved when we shall not be a cause of disturbance to the world outside, and the world outside shall not be a cause of disturbance for us. That state of perfection of desirelessness and the OET, objects, emotions and thought, not getting affected, such a man of perfection, when you have reached that stage, you will be working in an environment where you will not be a cause of disturbance to the world outside. You will hurt no one, you will disturb no one. You are not a threat to anybody. And the world outside shall also not be a cause of disturbance or threat to me. I don't care what you say. I respect you, but I don't care. Your ways, your means, your behavior is not going to affect me at all. I am what I am. If the world do not fear him, and he will not fear the world. In the Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, there is a beautiful stanza on this point. Yasmanno dvijate loko, lokanno dvijate chaya, harshamarsha bhayo dvegair, mukto yassa cha me priya. Mukto yassa cha me priya. He is dear to me. He is describing the criteria or the qualities of a bhakta, of a true devotee in his assessment. Not what you think is bhakta. What he thinks is bhakta is what is enunciated here. Yasman no dvijate loga. Yasman na udvijate loga. Udvijate means trouble. Udvijate means to trouble. Who? He who? Yasman no dvijate loka. He who does not trouble the world, doing his work quietly, causing no harm and disturbance to anybody. And lokan no dvijate jaya. The world is also not capable of disturbing him. It might carry on a mad dance. It might mock at you. Nothing ever will affect my peace of mind. Yasmanno dvijate logo, lokanno dvijate chaya. Harsham harsha bhayodyogair, mukto yassa chame priya. He who does not trouble the world, nor is he ever troubled by it, unconcerned by joy, anger and fear, harsha marsha bhayadvegair, harsha aharsha bhaya. He is not troubled by either joy or anger or fear. Such a person is indeed dear to me. That is exactly what aptakama means. The inner engineering of a near perfect man, the seeker or the sadhak, is deep rooted in his intrinsic divinity and creates in and around him an aura or atmosphere of serene joy, radiating nothing but peace and tranquility to all around him. The moment he arrives, there is a unknown peace coming into your mind, isn't it? Have you met certain people and they come near you? You feel so elated. For what reason? Nothing. He has not given you any money. But still you feel a positive aura, you say. Not only that, the agitations of the maddening crowd, the convulsions of the maddening crowd, the foolishness they exhibit, do not affect him and his activities either. He is not bothered. He will not shout at his neighbor and say, "Hey, what are you putting? Why are you putting songs so loudly? I'm studying, I can't hear this. Don't put it so loudly." And to the left side neighbor will say, "Why is your son shouting? Can he not talk softly?" The objects, emotions and thought do not disturb him either. Thus, Atmakama indicates that state of serenity. It indicates that state of serenity in one's mind, not only in dealing with his own activities, but also the agitating clamor of the world will not disturb him the least. It denotes a perfect state of tranquility both within and around him. Unfortunately, there is no apt equivalent for this word in English. Desirelessness is just a shade of Aptakama. Thus the Rishi states that the Aptakama deserves the ultimate truth through the path of truth, made of truth. He discovers the ultimate truth. Truth is there. He has not invented it or planted it or installed it there. It is already there. He is only going to discover. The cover is being removed. The cover is ignorance. That little bit of ignorance which still deludes him off and on, that is removed. Therefore they say that the Aptakama discovers the ultimate truth by traveling through the path of truth, cemented and slated, concreted by truth. Everywhere it is truth, 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 nothing but the truth. What that realm of truth is and what is its nature, we will see in the next mantra. Till then, Hari Om.